Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent.
There are few people where everything stops when you hear of their passing. And that happened today when Dolly Parton died.
The country music legend was hospitalized for 4 days, and we're now learning that doctors had diagnosed her with cancer, which she secretly battled.
What if Dolly Parton knew the end was closer than anyone realized, but still chose to smile? Because just 4 days before her death, Dolly Parton was still talking to the world. She was reassuring her fans. She was discussing her health. She was talking about the future. And yet, on August 25, 2026, the voice that had comforted millions suddenly went silent. Dolly Parton was gone. She was 80 years old. And now, the question breaking hearts everywhere is not simply how did Dolly Parton die? It is, how long had she been fighting something far more serious than the world knew?
And there's a solemnness, a reverence here. Take a look at the display behind me. Everyone laying flowers, trinkets, cards, sharing their memories of Dolly. We see people of all ages walking up, wanting to pay their respects to this legend.
Dolly died after a brief battle with cancer. According to her representatives, the specific type of cancer has not been revealed. She died at Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center in Nashville, surrounded by people she loved. But the shocking part is how quickly everything seemed to change, because fans had already been worried about Dolly. For months, the legendary singer had been experiencing health problems. She had spoken openly about difficult moments with her health. She had experienced dizziness and dehydration. She had dealt with a kidney stone infection and other medical complications. And eventually, her health became serious enough that she had to cancel appearances that fans were desperately hoping to see. One of the most heartbreaking examples came on August 14th. Dolly was supposed to appear at Dollywood for the opening of the Night Flight Expedition attraction, but she wasn't there. Instead, fans watched her through a pre-recorded message from Nashville. She explained that she was dehydrated and that her doctor had told her not to travel. At the time, many fans were simply hoping Dolly would rest and recover.
It was an honor to work for Dolly. We knew she had some problems, but we had no idea, that she was this sick.
I haven't been able to stop crying today. Laura, truly I haven't.
Nobody knew that less than 2 weeks later, they would be mourning her. And that's what makes those final appearances feel so painful now. Because Dolly kept trying to reassure everyone. She kept working. She kept planning. She kept dreaming. She was involved in projects that were supposed to carry her into the future. She was even looking ahead to her museum, her hotel, her Broadway musical, and other plans. It was as if Dolly was still saying, "I'm not finished yet." And then came the announcement that may be one of the most devastating details of this entire story. It was delivered by her nephew, Brian Seaver. But this wasn't simply a family member breaking tragic news. Brian revealed that Dolly had asked him years earlier to be the person who would announce her death when that day eventually came. Think about that. Dolly had actually prepared someone she loved for the moment when the world would need to hear that she was gone. For years, Brian carried the knowledge that one day he might have to record those words. He said he had imagined the heaviness of that moment. But when the moment finally arrived, he still wasn't prepared for the pain. The man who had spent years protecting Dolly as her head of security was suddenly placed in the unimaginable position of telling the world that his aunt had died. And perhaps that is the most human part of this entire tragedy. Behind the rhinestones, behind the wigs, behind the millions of records, behind the legendary songs, there was simply a family losing someone they loved. And Dolly's final chapter becomes even more emotional when you remember what she had already endured. Her husband, Carl Dean, died in March 2025 after nearly 6 decades of marriage. Dolly later admitted that while caring for Carl, she had neglected her own health. His death left a tremendous emotional void in her life. Yet somehow Dolly continued. She continued creating. She continued helping people. She continued giving. Even while her own body was struggling, Her heart remained focused on other people. And that is why the grief surrounding her death feels so enormous. At Dollywood, fans have gathered with flowers and messages. People who never met Dolly are crying. People who grew up listening to her songs are suddenly realizing that a voice they believed would always be there isn't. Because Dolly wasn't just a country singer. She was part of people's lives. She gave generations songs to cry to, songs to dance to, songs to fall in love to, songs to remember their parents by. And through her imagination library, she helped put books into the hands of children who might otherwise never have had them. She turned success into generosity. She turned fame into opportunity. And she made people feel like dreaming wasn't foolish. That's why Dolly's death feels less like losing a celebrity, and more like losing someone America grew up with. The woman who came from a tiny Tennessee mountain community became a global icon. But somehow, she never stopped making people feel like she belonged to them. And now she's gone. Her voice is gone. Her laugh is gone. Her presence is gone. But the strange thing about legends is that death doesn't always end their story. Sometimes, it makes the world finally stop and realize how much they gave us. Dolly Parton spent her life telling people to dream, to keep going, to love, to laugh, to give. And even in the darkest chapter of her own life, she kept doing exactly that. So maybe the most heartbreaking question isn't why Dolly Parton died. Maybe it's this: how many people will only now realize how much light she brought into their lives? Because Dolly Parton may have taken her final breath in Nashville, but somewhere tonight, someone is playing Jolene. Someone is remembering 9 to 5. Someone is hearing "I Will Always Love You" and thinking about someone they lost. And somewhere, a child is holding a book given through Dolly's dream of putting stories into children's hands. That is the legacy. Not the money, not the fame, not the costumes, not the awards. The people. Dolly Parton spent 80 years touching them. And now millions of them are saying goodbye. Dolly once gave the world so many reasons to smile. Today, the world is crying for the woman who taught it how.